Hey there, history buffs and meme lords. Whether you're here for the epic tales or just to roast some historical figures, you're in the right place. Today we're diving into the life of one short dude who cast a long shadow, Napoleon Bonaparte. He's the guy who made Napoleon complex a thing, but trust me, there's way more to him than just his height. Now I know what you're thinking. Another dead emperor? Can't we talk about the pyramids or something? Maybe some mummies or ancient aliens? But stick with me because this story is about to get wild. But trust me, Napoleon's story is anything but boring. It's got drama, intrigue, epic battles, and enough ambition to make a Kardashian blush. Seriously, if reality TV existed back then, Napoleon would have been trending every week. So, let's rewind to 1769 on the island of Corsica. Picture it, turquoise waters, delicious pastries, and a whole lot of Italian being spoken. Corsica was a place with its own unique culture, sandwiched between Italian and French influences, and it was anything but quiet. That's where our boy Napoleon bursts onto the scene. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth, more like a rusty spork. His family was noble, but not rich, and life was far from glamorous. Imagine growing up in a house where you're always reminded that you're not quite French enough for the French, and not quite Italian enough for the Italians. But what he lacked in noble lineage, he made up for with fiery determination and a brain that could outmaneuver a chess grandmaster. Even as a kid, Napoleon was stubborn, competitive, and always looking for a challenge, whether it was a game of chess or a heated debate at the dinner table. Growing up, Napoleon was a bit of a bookworm, which, let's be real, wasn't the coolest thing to be back then. While other kids were out playing, he was nose-deep in books, soaking up every bit of knowledge he could find. But hey, knowledge is power, right? He devoured books on history, philosophy, and military strategy like they were going out of style. He was obsessed with the great leaders of the past, Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great, and Hannibal. These weren't just stories to him, they were blueprints for greatness. Little did he know, all that reading would come in handy when he decided to conquer, well, most of Europe. Those late nights with dusty old books, they were basically his secret training montage. By the time Napoleon hit his teens, he was already showing signs of the ambition that would define his life. He left Corsica for mainland France to attend military school, which was a huge deal for a kid from a small island. He was a natural leader, even if he was a bit vertically challenged. We're not here to body shame, but the dude was short. Still, he stood out for his confidence, sharp mind, and the way he could rally people around him, even if he had to look up to do it. He excelled at math and military strategy, which, let's be honest, are pretty useful skills when you're planning on becoming a military commander. He could calculate artillery angles and troop movements in his sleep, and he was always thinking 3 steps ahead. Yeah, Napoleon had his sights set on bigger things than just island life. He was ready to take on the world, one battle at a time. From humble beginnings on a rocky island, he was about to change the course of history, and he was just getting started. So, how does a history-loving, vertically challenged kid from the rugged island of Corsica end up becoming one of the most powerful and influential men in all of Europe? It's not exactly the career path you'd expect for a boy born far from the glittering courts of Paris, in a place better known for its wild landscapes and fierce independence than for producing world leaders. Well, it helps if you're a military genius, have impeccable timing, and maybe, just maybe, get a little bit of luck sprinkled in for good measure. Napoleon Bonaparte had all 3 in spades, and he knew how to use them. Think of it like winning the lottery, but instead of millions of dollars, you get to command armies, redraw the map of Europe, and have your name echo through history books for centuries. Not a bad trade-off, right? Okay, maybe not the best analogy, but you get the point. Napoleon's rise was as unlikely as it was dramatic. Napoleon's military career really took off during the French Revolution, a time when France was basically flipping the table on centuries of monarchy and tradition. The streets of Paris were filled with chaos, hope, and a whole lot of uncertainty. The old order was crumbling, and nobody knew what would come next. For a young, ambitious officer like Napoleon, this was the perfect storm. While others saw danger and disorder, he saw opportunity. He was quick to prove himself, taking on tough assignments, and showing a knack for strategy that left his superiors in awe. He rose through the ranks faster than a sourdough starter in a warm kitchen. Seriously, his promotions came at lightning speed. In a world where most people were just trying to survive, Napoleon was thriving. He impressed his superiors with his tactical brilliance, his relentless drive, and his uncanny ability to inspire his troops, even when the odds were stacked against them. Soldiers would follow him anywhere, and he knew how to make them believe in victory. Think of him as the Beyoncé of the battlefield, charismatic, commanding, and always putting on a show that left everyone talking. His presence alone could turn the tide of a battle. His stunning victories in Italy didn't just win battles, they made him a national hero back in France. Suddenly, everyone was talking about this Corsican upstart who was rewriting the rules of war. People were like, Napoleon who? Napoleon, yes. He became a celebrity, a symbol of hope, and a living legend all at once. But Napoleon wasn't content with just being a big deal in Europe. He had his eyes on a much bigger prize, Egypt. He dreamed of building an empire that stretched beyond the continent, and Egypt was the first step. Why Egypt, you ask? Well, besides the pyramids being totally Instagram-worthy, Napoleon saw Egypt as the key to disrupting British trade routes to India. If he could control Egypt, he could strike a blow at Britain's wealth and power. It was a bold move, and for a while it seemed like it might just work. The French army marched through the desert facing heat, sandstorms, and fierce resistance, but Napoleon's ambition kept them going. But as with all great adventures, things got a little complicated, especially when the French stumbled upon the Rosetta Stone. Suddenly, Napoleon's Egyptian campaign wasn't just about war. It was about unlocking the secrets of the ancient world and changing history in ways no one could have predicted. Back in France, things were, shall we say, a little messy. The government was about as stable as a Jenga tower after one too many beers. Napoleon, being the ambitious go-getter that he was, saw an opportunity. In a move that could only be described as a power move, he staged a coup and declared himself first consul of France. Now, being first consul was basically like being king, but without all the fancy titles and uncomfortable crowns. Napoleon was now the top dog, the big cheese, the sultan of all things French. And he wasn't afraid to let everyone know it. But Napoleon wasn't just about consolidating power, he was also about expanding it. He led France to victory after victory in the Napoleonic Wars, basically taking on all of Europe and saying, "Come at me, bro." He conquered Italy, again, crushed Austria, and even gave Prussia a run for its money. Napoleon was a master strategist, a military innovator, and honestly, a bit of a control freak. He reformed the French legal system, created the Bank of France, and even standardized the baguette. That's right. You can thank Napoleon for your delicious, perfectly sized French bread. You're welcome. By 1804, Napoleon was basically running the show in France. After years of political chaos and revolution, he had risen through the ranks with a mix of military genius, ambition, and a knack for seizing the right moment. The people were tired of instability, and Napoleon offered them something new: order, strength, and a sense of national pride. He figured, why be first consul when you can be emperor? The title of first consul was powerful, sure, but it just didn't have the same ring or the same authority as emperor of the French. So, he did what any self-respecting conqueror would do. He crowned himself Emperor Napoleon I. In a move that shocked Europe, he made it clear that he owed his power to no one but himself and the people of France. No waiting for the Pope to give him the okay, Napoleon took matters, and the crown, into his own hands. The Pope was there, but Napoleon made sure everyone saw who was really in charge. Now, being emperor wasn't all about looking fabulous in a velvet robe, though Napoleon certainly rocked the look. The coronation was a spectacle, full of gold, velvet, and pageantry, but it also marked the beginning of a new era for France. He implemented a series of reforms that transformed France into a modern state. He centralized the government, making it more efficient and responsive, and brought stability after years of upheaval. He created a new legal code, still used in some form today, called the Napoleonic Code. This set of laws made things clearer and fairer, influencing legal systems around the world. And he reformed the education system, making schools more accessible and standardized so that more people could learn and contribute to society. Napoleon wasn't just about books and battles, though. He understood that a strong nation needed more than just a powerful army or clever laws. He was a patron of the arts and sciences, encouraging innovation and creativity. Under his rule, artists, writers, and scientists found new opportunities to shine. His reign saw a flourishing of French culture. Think grand architecture, beautiful paintings, and a renewed sense of French identity that inspired generations. And of course, there was enough drama at court to make a soap opera jealous. Alliances, betrayals, and intrigue were all part of daily life. But let's be real, Napoleon wasn't exactly known for his humility. He had a larger-than-life personality and wanted everyone to remember it. He had a bit of an ego, which, to be fair, comes with the territory when you're conquering most of Europe. His ambition knew few limits, and he was always pushing for more. He commissioned countless statues and paintings of himself, making sure his image would last for centuries. Always making sure he looked super heroic and imposing, Napoleon carefully crafted his public image as a leader destined for greatness. Just a casual reminder to everyone who was boss. Napoleon's legacy is everywhere in France, a testament to a man who truly ruled the roost and wanted the world to know it.